I'm going to talk about problems in communication, the high infrastructure costs associated with these changes, some of the downside, and, because housing is very important, some alternatives that will give us better results. There have been a limited number of communications from planning. All have occurred by Zoom. They follow a fairly standard pattern. We're getting lots of money. There'll be increased density. Please consult our website. And this is going to be a good thing. Planning has been unable to meet with the community associations to discuss these proposals in any detail. And some details, for example, 4-storey apartments along arterials and collectors, only became available with the publication of the agenda for this meeting. The infrastructure needs associated with rezoning are difficult to predict. This 4-unit non-conforming dwelling, whose construction was supported by planning, subsequently experienced significant problems with flooding. There's reports of sewage gushing up to a height of 1 meter in the basement of a single-family home following construction of a nearby apartment block. To be fair, administration recognizes that we will need significant infrastructure upgrades. The problem is the costs of these, the extent of these, and how they are going to be paid for is unknown. Current infrastructure is only designed to support the current population. In parts of the city, we're going to have a 10 times increase in population that will require new sewers and new water. The infrastructure charge is currently around $92 per annum, so 1,100 new units will generate about $1 million over 10 years. This is a drop in the bucket compared with the nearly $20 million that we paid in 2024 to rehabilitate or replace only 5 kilometers of water main. According to a study commissioned by the city, the cost of infill where infrastructure is insufficient is very high. Has Council put aside the money to service this new density? Similarly, we're going to need new schools. The province will expect the city to provide the land for these. The cost of this land in established neighbourhoods is going to be very high. Does Council have a funding plan for this? The majority of the BRT system around which this increased density will be built is neither funded nor in place. Each BRT route costs about $100 million, which is a lot of money. There is a risk that we'll get increased density without the supporting infrastructure. We cannot use taxes to pay for this infrastructure. There are already too many calls on the general tax pool, which has resulted in high annual tax increases. Furthermore, apartment and other density qualifies for a 5-year tax break, during which period other taxpayers will pay the cost. The Varsity View Community Association suggests that you postpone a decision on this further increase in density until you know the costs and have developed a funding plan. These proposals come with costs, including the loss of over 10,000 trees and the associated habitat for numerous bird species. Our neighbourhoods will be less appealing. Loss of trees is associated with the loss of health benefits. Density provides anonymity and opportunity and a risk of higher crime. And visitors to our city will not leave with such a pleasant impression of our historic neighbourhoods. What are the alternatives? Well, we could build greenfield in new neighbourhoods. There would be a lower land cost. Services would be pre-planned and installed and paid for. There would be no risk of unpleasant surprises for neighbours or council. We would get more housing because it's cheaper to build in new neighbourhoods, and also because there'll be no demolition of homes in existing neighbourhoods. Another useful approach would be to incentivize construction on land which is already zoned for higher density but is not being redeveloped. For example, parts of 8th Street would greatly benefit from improved amenities.